Hello, 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 and welcome into Iron Sharpens Iron by Bear Claw Media and brought to you by Top Notch Plumbing. Most home problems don't shout, they whisper. The tiny drip, the almost warm furnace, the slow drain. Ignoring it costs more later. Top Notch Plumbing turns I'll get it into handle. Full service plumbing, HVAC, and drain cleaning. Voted 6-time best plumber in Greeley. Book the fix at topnotchplumbingllc.com. As always, I'm joined by Bloch, Quinn Denker. Fellas, how we doing?
Did the same emote.
Yeah, we did.
Living the dream, man. Just want to see our guy get to 7 years.
As top notch as it gets, man.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, it's Wednesday morning here. I like to start you off with a stumper, so it's only easier from here.
Okay.
But so 2 big wins. Sacramento State, kind of the fanfare. 2 like opposite kind of situations, but feel like equally big wins. Sac State was all the fanfare. Mike Bibby and his harem of bodyguards came to town. A lot of hype around that. And then Saturday, Portland State, number 1 team in the conference, hadn't lost on the road in conference play. But 2 big wins. What's the takeaway kind of heading out of that weekend?
I think that was a big week for us, just in terms of, we have senior night this week. We don't want anybody to be looking ahead. We want to be present, and to be able to stay present last week and handle business at home and, continue to get better, because I thought we got better from those games too. Like Quinn has been talking about, our ultimate goal is to be better, be at our best in March. So, I thought that we really stayed present, took those games as learning opportunities and opportunities to get better. So.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think you said it best. I think just last week was like a huge opportunity for us for a couple different reasons, like you said. And, that Sac State team was a team that was playing really well. They beat a lot of really good teams. And like you said, they had a lot of hype around them. A lot of, it was funny. I feel like this week, me and Zach were talking about this, and we've talked about it on the pod. We just really don't mess with like all like the extracurriculars and like the glazing, for example. And man, before Sac State, did we get a lot of that? It was crazy. Like I remember I was in the ice tub with Caden Erickson. We were just kind of talking about that exact thing. And then a football player randomly comes up to him and goes, "Yo, are you guys playing against Mikey Williams this week?" And it was just like, that was just the kind of thing we were getting all week. But we were excited. We were ready to go, and especially because they beat us last time at home too in the way they did. So we were excited to play in that game. And obviously see, as you said, Mike Bibby's harem of security guards. And that was really funny. But that was just a good game, good opportunity. And then the Portland State game, that was a team that was obviously top of the conference, a really good team. And we were just excited to see that we are making strides and are making improvement and need to continue to do so.
Yeah, and it felt like we touched on it a bit last week coming out of Weber and Idaho State. Another couple comfortable wins. Like, I think the Sac State game would have felt much more comfortable throughout if, like, the 18-point lead didn't happen and losing in overtime the first time. Yeah. But then Portland State, it was competitive throughout, but kind of stretched it to 10 right out of halftime. Who was it? Ibu hit 2 big threes, and I think a layup on that run. But it just felt like maybe being able to kind of close the door when you're ahead of teams, which was something even during that wins, like all the wins early, felt like wasn't happening at times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that is a testament to how locked in we've been on defense. We've been holding teams to under 40% from the field in these past like 6-7 games. All right, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that in these past like 7 games. So I think, I just think it's been a testament to, how hard and how focused we've been on that end of the floor. And, the offense is just the offense, we're kind of getting back in a rhythm, and everybody's playing really well, playing together. And obviously, Q has been playing amazing, and, getting everybody involved. Let's talk about the 16 assists.
It was next on the list.
Yeah, let's just get right there. Yeah, that was amazing. Program record. He's going to give all glory to God, as he should. And but it's a fun player to play with when he's about to break the record for most assists in a season in Bears history. So, yeah, Quinn's he's great. He's great.
Exactly what I'm going to say, but it's literally just a testament to our team and my teammates, because at the end of the day, like 16 assists doesn't happen if 16 dudes don't make baskets or are good enough to like space the floor so I can get by my guy and drive to create that advantage. At the end of the day, it's literally just a testament to how good the team is and how easy they make it on me. And all I have to do is drive, draw two, and kick it to the open guy, And so I've got, one of the best shooters in college basketball. I've got in him and Ibu. And then I've got, just two guys that don't miss around the rim and Ring and Brock. And then you've got such talented guys coming off the bench like Vince and Arik and Egan and all these guys. And so it makes my life easier. All I got to do is just find the open man, and they go do all the hard stuff.
Yeah, on that, was it yesterday, 5th Big Sky Conference Player of the Week award? So congratulations there. But you talked about the 16 assists. You were the beneficiary of a couple of those. Mm-hmm. You got 15 threes up in that Sac State game, which I love. And it felt like you made some of the tougher ones, too. Yeah. Like, there probably could have easily gone 8, 9 of 15, mm-hmm. but still 5 of 15 is a 50% effective field goal percentage. Oh, you knock claws off his feet.
Claws off. Little bear guy.
There we go.
But I was looking it up after I mentioned it felt like you were in a little bit of a slump. You're still over 43% on the season, which is crazy because it just kind of puts all of that in perspective. And then Ring is over 50% from deep in conference play after struggling earlier. So, yeah, it feels like no matter kind of who you find, it's a high percentage shot.
100%. That's why I'm saying it's so easy, because you just all you gotta do is draw two, kick it to a 43% for 3-point shooter on 15 shots volume, kick it to Ring, kick it to Vince, who's also shooting the ball really well, kick it to Brock, who's already unguardable in the post, but now you put him outside the keys, even more unguardable. Ibu obviously can spaz off and just do some crazy stuff, and then I could go on, but.
And then I know Smiley grades out shot quality or good shot versus bad shot. Were any of those 15 a bad shot?
No,
they actually weren't.
Even the one from the logo? That was the one that I had in my mind.
No, that one wasn't. I would have given myself maybe one or two.
I wouldn't have.
But I'm still gonna shoot it.
So we were saying on the broadcast, I hope he takes 15 more, because I think you were 10 at halftime or something.
Yeah, it was something like that.
It was funny because in film, when we watch this stuff back, we'll watch through our shots and stuff, and he'll see a shot, and if it's a bad shot, he'll call it out and be like, that's a bad shot, Quinn. It's a bad shot. And Zach shoots one in the game. We're watching the film back yesterday. He shoots one from the volleyball line, and he good shot. Just next to the next clip, and I'm like, yeah, that's Zach Bloch. That is Zach Bloch for you, dude, and I love it.
Yeah, because you knocked in a couple. That one didn't go in, I don't think. But there were a couple where you were...
No, that one did go in, the volleyball. First half, Portland State.
Oh, okay, in Portland State. Yeah, I don't think you could shoot a bad three in my eyes.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
But we kind of touched on it at the very end of last week's pod. Couple weeks at home. Yeah. Feels like, was it 4 games in 7 or 8 days early during that kind of brutal stretch? Feels like maybe you're reaping the rewards of that now, have a little bit more time off. How nice is it just to have a couple weeks where you don't have to get on a bus, drive down to DIA, get on a plane, and where you can just sleep in your own bed every night?
Such a blessing. And it's such a blessing to have these last 2 days, whatever it was, where we, didn't really have much on the court, just to, we're in our 5th years in February. Yeah. And we're feeling every bit of that. So we need those 2 days were huge for us, I feel like, for our bodies. And just, also get our minds off of basketball a little bit, because, every single day we're talking about basketball. Yeah. We're thinking about basketball. So to just get away for a little bit and, focus on other things that we loved. I got to play some piano yesterday, which was great.
That was great.
I'm still trash, but something that I enjoy. I just am a big sound guy. Yeah. So I just listen to sounds all day. So I just thought, why not get a piano and start making some sounds? So that's what I've been doing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's better than he says. He's good. He can chef up a little bit.
How long you been playing?
Not long.
Okay.
I'm still trying to get I'm still uncoordinated on like, and like timing up the rhythm. It's so hard. Like,
sorry to cut you up, but guitar is like one thing, but that's like one hand kind of making the rhythm, right, like where it's just like my brain doesn't even.
It's hard. It's super hard. You know what's really good is Egan. He's a killer.
He's dirty.
Really?
Yeah.
Dirty.
Oh, he probably makes that piano look like
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And it's funny too, because I don't know if you ever like seen him how he uses his hands, but normally like his hands are like, when you do push-ups, like this. He does them like this. And it's just I don't know why, but it's just kind of like how his hands work. He's got super like coordinated, like his hand, like he doesn't really drop passes much. And so he's just super like, I don't know how to even describe Egan, but when he plays the piano, he almost plays it like this too. And man, dude, he's a talented kid. I remember there was a piano in Omaha, like when we went and played in Omaha, Nebraska, and he was cooking on that thing a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was,
he did it in Portugal too.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's fire.
So what is keeping your body right? You mentioned, I was going to kind of out you guys a little bit after we recorded last week when you got up, like things are cracking, like the things are a little stiff. But what is keeping your body right off the floor, and how much more important is that now in year 5 versus when you were a freshman?
Dude, it is everything. If you want to perform at the highest level every single time you play, you have to take care of your body, and it starts as soon as the game ends. I remember when I was like a high school senior, or like whatever it was, like I'd play a game and be like, all right, now I earned a milkshake from In-N-Out, or like I could go eat a cookie or whatever it is. And now you can't really do that. Now you have to eat healthier after games. You have to go get in the ice tub. Like on a day, like for the last 2 days, we've been doing contrast training, which is just you're getting in an ice tub for 10 minutes, going to the hot tub, warming yourself all the way back up, going back in the ice tub again, and just kind of doing that a couple times, maybe even doing a full plunge or something like that. And then you'll see Zach on those Normatec boots for hours. And then you got to go see the trainer. Each of us have our own little bumps and bruises and stuff that we're all dealing with. Like I'm still dealing with my eye thing that I got to get fixed. And so like everyone's just kind of dealing with their own thing that they got to fix, and they got to get better and got to get right and just good enough. Cause you're never going to be like 100%. Especially like he said, we're 5th year seniors in February. So you're never going to be 100%, but you just got to try to get to as close to it as humanly possible. And so, like for us too, that means backing off a little bit on some of the things that we used to do, cause we're gym warriors. And so like in summertime, like we'll be in the gym 4 or 5 times a day. Well, you can't really do that in February, or else you're not going to be as close to 100% come game time. We've been really trying to do a better job of backing it off, only doing what's like absolutely necessary to stay in the rhythm, get our bodies right and still flowing, and then give everything we got in practice, give everything we got in the games. Right, like around this time, it's all about body maintenance and just making sure your body's ready to go for competition.
Is there a point in the season where I may be looking at it too black and white, but early on it feels like you're maybe still like running yourself into game shape. You're still like there's time to put on a little bit more muscle, put on some weight if you need it. Is there a point in the season where it kind of not gets too late, but it flips from trying to like build to maintain?
100%. I just don't know if there's a black and white answer. Because I think it kind of depends on each person, and it also depends on how much you're playing, exactly your role, like how much load and usage you're using. Like if you're shooting 15 threes a game, everyone's chasing you around while you're guarding the other team's best player, you're probably going to need to be in maintain mode a little bit, just because your body just is taking on so much load. While if you're a red shirt, for example, or you should be in build mode all season long. So it kind of just differs.
Pivot a little bit here. We were talking a bit before we started recording about the Mick Cronin UCLA coach kicking his player out of the game, and then kind of verbally sparring with a reporter afterward. You don't have to comment directly on that, but it made me think like the response has been what player in their right mind would go play for Mick Cronin now? And Smiley's probably not a great example because it feels like Smiley is pretty similar. I don't know like the ins and outs, but he feels pretty similar when he's talking to us radio post game versus when he's like talking to you guys and like pregame stuff. But have you had any coaches where from the outside they just look like just mean and grisly, but like when you get them, when they're in the locker room, they're in practice, you like kind of see a different side of them that makes you like for sure want to kind of play for them?
Yeah. I think, well, Coach Smiley, for example, like you said, he is a real dude. So he's the same to us as he is to you guys. And, I think there's something to say about that because like you said, there's a lot of coaches that are fake and are one way to outsiders and one way to the players and one way to coaches and one way to, it's just like, it's a blessing to have a coach who's real and you know what you're going to get from him every single day. And, he doesn't have to fake anything. He's a good dude. He's a good person. And that doesn't mean he doesn't coach us extremely hard and get on us when he needs to get on us. And I think he goes about everything the right way. And, with the Mick Cronin thing, when I watched that play, that was an insane play. He when you just watch the player, he looks like he's just going to make a winning play and go chase somebody down. And it was an unfortunate, the player couldn't land when he went up to try to block the shot. But I've never seen any coach kick out their own player from a game. It's crazy.
Just to piggy on what he first said, I think obviously me and Zach talk a lot about coaching because that's something we want to get into at some point, God willing. But I think Coach Smiley is a good model of how you want to conduct yourself as just a human being. Because I think the issue is that there's a lot of people out there that kind of see their profession as a separate thing of who they are, when really you should just be Quinn, you should just be Zach, you should just be Steve Smiley, and then you're not make your job your identity, because then I feel like when you make your, for example, you make being a basketball coach your identity, you get really political, you kind of you show face differently on screen versus whether you're in the locker room, however you're talking to reporters or shaking donors' hands versus how you're addressing players and players' parents. But then also I feel like there's a level of, you need to be able to take accountability when you're a coach. Cause it's when you're a leader, you need to take accountability for everything. And I think there's a lot of guys out there that are just so worried about job security that they almost deflect out. So that's kind of, honestly, I didn't even really see the play. I saw the video of him kicking his player out and everything. And I was like, what in the world happened? I didn't see the later I saw a chase down block, but was that the play he got kicked out on?
Where he chased him down and he got the foul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he kicked him out for?
That's what he kicked him out for.
Was there something I didn't see?
No, that was what it was. That's why I'm saying it was the most, it's Ring coming down and trying to make a winning play and the dude falls and then Smiles kicks him out of the game.
Huh. I was even thinking about during Portland State too, Terry Miller accidentally hits me in the face.
Yeah, he would have been gone.
You know what I mean? It's not like Terry Miller actually tried to punch me in the face. Yeah. It was an accident.
Yeah.
But that was if Coburn just threw out Terry Miller.
Yeah.
That's one of the craziest things. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What was the reporter thing?
The reporter asked something about the student section on the opposing team student section, and he was like, "Do you really think I care?" And then the reporter said something, and he was like, "You should get an award for asking me the dumbest question I've ever heard." And then the reporter said one more thing, and he was pretty calm. And Cronin was like, "Are you raising your voice with me?"
Oh, interesting.
It was just just bizarre. Bizarre behavior all around. But I think it feels like Mick Cronin may be the worst example of this, but players want to be coached hard, right? Smiley always talks about we're truth tellers,
100%.
And I feel like from people like Twitter warriors are why would you be mean to these kids? But it feels like to have the mindset to get to be a Division I athlete, you have to be wired where you want people to tell you what you're doing wrong. You 100%. Want to improve.
100%. Well, I think there's a huge difference between having someone hold you accountable and then someone just blatantly disrespecting you. Mm-hmm. Now I do think this generation has gotten really soft when it comes to what they think is disrespect versus telling the truth. Mm-hmm. We were talking about that yesterday. I can't tell you how many people like for example, like a coach tells you the truth, something you don't like, and then there's a player who's like, "Man, don't talk to me like that. I'm a grown man." Like, dude, come on, bro. You're still in college. You're not even paying your rent. Like, let's be real here. You know what I mean? Like those are the people that I just don't really have respect for when it comes to that area. But I do think this generation's gotten soft, but I'd love a coach. And I told Coach Smiley right when I wanted to come play for him, I was like, dude, hold me accountable. Yell at me. You can do whatever. It doesn't really matter. Like, I'm not one of those soft dudes that's going to hop in the portal as soon as someone yells at me. That's not how it works. Like, just tell me how it is, you know? And that's, I think, when you're like, I remember we had a comment a couple games ago because Smiley was yelling at us on the bench. And we had a lady who knows us really well came up to us and goes, I almost wanted to run down there and say something to him because he shouldn't be talking like that to our kids. And I was just like, oh, guys, it was funny about that is literally right before Smiley yelled at our team, he came up to me and Zach and goes, "Hey, just so you know, I'm going to get on you guys right here." And it's just like, that's how it is, you know? And so, yeah, we don't, if anything, it helps us be better. Like if you're able to be coached under high pressure environments, high intensity environments, then you'll be a great player and just a great human being who's successful.
Yeah.
It all starts with the guys you bring in too, right? Because I'm sure Smiley and the rest of the coaching staff know, like we're not, if they probably get an inkling of that softness or like where they draw their line for disrespect doesn't match up with where the standard is at UNC. It kind of, I assume he just doesn't bring those types of guys in, or at least tries not to.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been surrounded by a lot of guys here that can't handle that type of coaching. But also, I think there, for some instances, like coaches do coach different players differently and understand what they respond well to, what they don't respond well to. So how can you get the most out of your players? You know, sometimes there's a guy that's really talented. Sometimes coaches will, you know, coach them differently if they don't respond well to, you know, like extreme criticism. And I think there's different ways to approach different people to get the best out of them. And so I think it's about, you know, obviously you want tough guys that can handle the truth. And, you know, a good coach like Coach Smiley is always going to tell you the truth. But there's ways to do that to where you can get the best out of your players and the way that they respond best to it.
Mm-hmm.
We have a couple half-court shot pieces to get to. First off, was it Portland State, right? We've been watching, shout out Kitzman. I feel like there's so many more like timeout promotions this year.
That's been great.
One of those, kid hit a half-court shot. I don't know what he won, but hopefully something good.
Won some money. It was Bo, yeah?
Yeah, it was Brock's little brother.
Yeah.
Cashed it. I was like, we were just sitting in the timeout and the crowd just goes crazy. I'm like, what's going on? And it was just this guy, Bo. Saw a video on Instagram. It was like his sixth one. It was like, what was it? He had to make a half court shot
in like a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boaz Wisdom,
cashed
man.
it.
Cash.
So shout out Bo.
Yeah.
Then maybe a half court shot with a little more controversy around it. We're a week late on this, but it was in, I believe, Ogden for the Weaver State game. Yeah. Take it away.
You know, we do this thing before every single game in our shoot around where we do our half court shots. We do a half court shot challenge against the coaches. You know, I think it's kind of bogus sometimes because the coaches get 3 points for every made shot and the players get 1, which, you know, there's like, and then the coaches, because they get 3 points, they argue it's because there's 6 of us and there's 16 of you. Well, then they recruit managers who always end up saving them. And then they recruit all these other dudes. So we're in Ogden, right? And that was our booster game. So like a bunch of the boosters flew out with us to come to the game. And so there may have been 20 boosters shooting while there's 16 of us. And right, each one of them is worth 3 points. Well, no one was making shots that day for them, except for Jacob Govero, Pirate Radio. And he makes the shot, absolutely cashes it. And Egan always stands under the basket to get the rebounds or to swat the misses just because it just, incites fear. But he catches the ball and he looks at it and goes, "What in the world is this?" Throws it over to me. It's a women's ball. Last time I checked, Govro, we use men's ball. We're not a women's basketball team. We use men. There's even the female boosters. We're using men's balls.
Ooh, that makes it worse.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, there was no women's rack in sight, so I don't even know how you. Well, he went out of his way to go find this women's ball, and there's controversy there. He swears he didn't know. Okay, Jacob. I love you, Jacob, but come on, man. You're not swinging that one by me. But yeah, it was really funny.
He said that the next shot he took with a men's ball, he missed by about 18 feet.
Yeah,
for sure.
To just further cement the
so far
fraud.
right. Yeah. So far right. And the thing is, he's a talented guy. He could have easily made it with the men's ball if he gave him 2 tries, but he only got 1. So
did it end up counting?
No.
Well,
we took it away.
They took away 1 point, so they gave him 2 points.
Oh.
Which
that's
okay, Smiley.
Yeah.
Like that was just a Smiley change of rule. Yeah, go bro. Doesn't count as 3 points, but you still get 2.
Also, so my first 4 years, when we shot half court shots, the coaches were only worth 2, and for some reason now they're always worth 3.
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
3.
Well, then the year before, then they changed it.
Yeah,
That's when they changed it. But I'm like, dude, half the time you have over half. You have more than 8 people
100%.
shooting. So why would it be worth more?
Why would it be worth 3?
That doesn't make any sense.
Especially because they practice half court shots all day long.
Yeah,
too.
that's the only shots they shoot.
100%.
Like we shoot threes and layups and stuff.
Exactly. Like we're not practicing half quarters.
What's the season tally? Who's leading?
They are by a good amount.
Yeah.
I think it's 16
It's bad.
10 to 8.
Yeah,
16, they've got 16, we've got 10 because I think we've won the last 2.
Yeah.
And then there's 8 ties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the best, either coach or player? Who's the
I think DC's leading them right now.
Klopp is.
Is Klopp leading them again?
Yeah.
I don't think so, bro.
No,
I think
he
DC
is.
passed him up.
I don't think so. I don't think because DC was terrible in the
Yeah,
beginning.
but he got hot and he hit some daily doubles.
I know. No, but that was another rule they made. Daily double doesn't count as 3 points in their system. It only counts as 2 made shots.
Okay.
So Klopp, I think Klopp is still winning by 1 or 2 shots.
And all I know is DG's been talking crazy to me lately, and I've been cashing.
Yeah.
I had a daily
you had
double.
A daily double. You did daily double recently.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen DG make one in eons.
I don't either. He's been getting carried to a lot of wins.
100%, bro. You know who's been carrying them a lot is Christian Bokelman, man.
Yeah.
And David Agbasi, man.
Yeah.
He's been carrying them guys.
Yeah.
And Jacob Govro been carrying them. They just choose a guy every single week, and it's just never the main core that
it's
wins
not
it for
it's
them,
not the main core. It's the other guys.
100%, bro. You'd think they'd want to take accountability for that, but it's just not them.
Yep.
I've been going to the rec center and playing some basketball lately, and I've been closing with 4 or 5 half court shots because I'm assuming at some point I'm going to end up on that coach's team, and I just can't. I can't embarrass myself. I don't even need to make it. I just can't humiliate myself.
If you came for a pregame shoot around, you'd 100% be in that. 100%.
We got about 10 minutes here. I have 2 quick things before we get into the Splash Disciples segment. Started rewatching Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes. Which one?
The dub.
The original? The original one? Yeah, great stuff.
So he's had a couple duels on the island. He just, I think he gave a kid his star chips, and then one of the security guards tossed him in the water. So I've been on that. Crunchyroll only has the subtitle one. They don't have the dub.
Seriously? Well, I mean, you can go on Netflix.
That's what I did.
Also, Crunchyroll just updated today that they are now changing their subscription to $14.99 instead of $10.99.
Marcy's gonna be mad about that.
I was pissed.
She was she just subscribed a couple weeks ago, and she called her sister. She's like, this is what it should be. $10.99, no commercials.
Yeah, exactly.
But still no commercials, I assume.
Yeah, no commercials. It's not Hulu.
Isn't there another subscription to where you can read the mangas and stuff on there?
Yeah. Now there's a premium one where if the premium one's $20.99 or something. And that's where
fire,
you get all manga and stuff too.
Unlimited.
Yeah.
Streams at a time.
Well, and it's all the up to date stuff. You don't have to find illegal websites and whatnot. We do that, but no, it's because before, David, our manager, showed me on YouTube. There's this guy on YouTube who will just post all the mangas and they're in videos, so you can kind of just watch them on YouTube. but like the premium thing actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
but
fire.
I just don't
Ring,
know if I could do
I think
that.
Ring has it.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fire.
Have either of you watched Sword Art Online?
I have.
That one
all the way through.
We just started, and I'm a big fan of that one.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one.
It's good. Each season is basically like a different show.
Okay.
So like the first season is Sword Art Online. The second one is like Gun Art Online, but it's all the same character. It's like always Kirito or whatever his name is, the dual wielder. But no, it kind of changes up, and then it kind of ends like it kind of gets a little bit boring there in the middle, like season 3 and 4. Season 5 is fire. So I honestly loved it all the way through. I've heard a lot of people be like, I don't know if I like it. I liked it. So
the like getting trapped in a video game, and if you die in the game, you die online. I just love that trope. And almost like I think the first one was like Scooby Doo Cyber Chase.
Yes, dude,
that is like all time favorite movie,
bro.
That movie's so fire.
So fire.
That was one I had on like DVD as a kid.
Yeah,
me too. Just
100%.
Like,
play that in the car on a long drive.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
that was great. Wow.
Dude,
I'm gonna have to rewatch.
That's an elite pull.
Yeah, it is. What was that dude's name?
The blue guy.
The Phantom. It was Phantom something, wasn't it?
The virus.
Virus. Yeah.
Phantom
Wasn't
Virus?
it Phantom? Was it
Something
Phantom?
like that.
Maybe it wasn't Phantom, and I'm too stuck.
That was a good movie.
Star Wars. Phantom Menace.
I was literally thinking Phantom Menace, but I was like, can't be. But all right, so before we get into the Splash Disciples segment, Adrian, got to get you that second ad read.
Come on, Adrian.
12 minutes. That's how fast a small leak can become a big mess. Call the crew Greeley Trust Top-Notch Plumbing, awarded Best Plumbers 6 years in a row. Plumbing, HVAC, drain cleaning, Top-Notch Plumbing, LLC.com. And I will pass it over to you fellas.
Yeah, so for this Splash segment, we last week we kind of talked about what happens in your life, like when you what's going to happen in the beginning parts of when you fully give your life to Christ. So you're going to go through some trials and tribulations. You'll go through kind of a test period. Life doesn't necessarily just become super easy. Like you don't, like all these problems in your life don't just get fixed. By speaking to God and going to God, he will show you the way. Chancellor White, actually, shout out Chance. He wrote a Bible study for our Bible study this week that we're going to do tonight. But he basically he went back to the Old Testament and wrote about how in ancient Egypt, when God saved the Israelites, how they almost wanted to go back to being enslaved because God saved them from their slavery, but then their life got harder for a little bit, right? Everything was kind of uncertain. They weren't sure the direction that God was bringing them in, but he just delivered them from slavery. But instead they wanted to kind of go back to their old ways because the destination of where they were going was completely uncertain. Mm-hmm. So they were willing to go back to being enslaved in Egypt instead of just trusting the plan that God had for them, just because in the beginning it was a little rocky and hard. And so with that kind of theme, like it's, for Catholic people and stuff, today is Ash Wednesday. People are giving up things for Lent. And it's kind of like, the tradition is more like, okay, what am I going to give up to God? Like, what do I want to give up and surrender to God? And for us, like surrendering things to God is an everyday thing. God will kind of cleanse you and he'll show you exactly what things to surrender. You want to kind of go into that?
Yeah. I mean, just going off of the first part that you were talking about with the Israelites wanting to go back to slavery, that's kind of, in your walk with Christ, there's a lot of people that get set free from sin and from things you were bound to, addictions, different things. And sometimes there's a temptation to go back to that because it's comfortable, right? And that's what the Israelites were doing. They were like, we don't know what's going to happen. It's comfortable back here. I'm going to go back. I want to go back to being a slave, right? We don't know because I think the story was like Moses was, he hadn't fed them yet or something like that. And so
their only food was manna.
Yeah. So they were trying to go back to, what was comfortable. And I think, in the Christian walk, don't go back to things that God has already freed you from, whether that's relationships. Like God saved you from a relationship that was toxic, right? There's always that temptation to go back, but no, stay in that uncertain place of, trusting God and allow him to show you your path. And but I think that that was a powerful idea to keep in mind when you're tempted to go back to the old things. But yeah, I think that going off the last part that Quinn was talking about, um, there's a lot of prayer I felt like in my life that I've had to go to God for, um, to align my desires with his desires. Because, I've had a lot of earthly desires, a lot of worldly desires in my life. And it's still in this Christian walk, like there's times when sometimes I get caught up desiring something worldly. And so I have to pray to God to align my heart with his, because I want to. Sometimes it's like, out of my own strength, I just can't. Like I'm sinful by nature, right? So I ask for the Holy Spirit to come over me, to guide me, to align my desires with his. And I think that that's super important to understand, is, the more time you spend with God, the more you want to be like him, the more you want to do the things that he does. And um, you start to not want the worldly things as much. But like I said, it's still a battle and a wrestle every single day. Paul talks about like wrestling with God, and wrestling with sin, uh, because it's not a easy fight. You have to wrestle with it. And um, at the end of the day, prayer, reading your word and spending time in his presence, it helps to align your heart.
I think with surrender too, like there's a lot of people out there who are scared to give their life to Christ because they're scared to have to give something up. Like maybe they subconsciously feel like there's something out there that they know they'd have to give up, and that there's no way they could possibly live without this thing. Well, that's normally just the enemy talking to you or trying to get in your head, because when you do give your life to Christ and you do just try to model his ways like Zach is talking about, and you're just trying to live like the way Jesus lived, you God will give you the strength to want to get rid of those things. And so that's something that I didn't realize until I actually went through the process. Like it was tough at first, but then God completely rid all desire within me to want certain things. And like he said, I still have to wrestle with others, and it's like an ongoing process, but there are some things out there that in my life that I just was able to surrender. And it was during the waiting period. And I think that's a lot of things too. Like we were talking about in the beginning, people think it's just as soon as I give my life to Christ, everything's fixed. No, there's a waiting period. There's a testing period. It's often a quiet period because at the end of the day, the teacher is quiet during the test. And so like you have to go through that period of time first before then you see the benefits and the fruit growing from the vine.
Okay. And that's interesting because even in just something I heard a lot, like playing basketball growing up, is you're always changing. You're either growing for the better or growing for the worse. Mm-hmm. And it feels like those comforts are kind of pulling you back. And you think maybe it's comfortable and it's the same, but you're probably actually like deteriorating a little bit. Whereas when you choose to follow Jesus and you go down that path, it's the choosing the path of growing for the better.
Mm-hmm. Comfort's the killer. Usually when you choose hard, it's always better.
Yeah. And that's the misconception about the Christian walk too, is that it's easy, or that it's the easy path. Like there is so much, you look at Paul's life, how much did Paul suffer following Jesus? But he was like, there was no other way he would want to go, right? Because God is, he makes those suffering parts of life easier.
Yeah.
So like in life, you're going to suffer regardless. Would you rather suffer with Jesus or suffer alone?
Very well put. I think that's a perfect spot to close on. Thank you, fellas, as always. And as always, we're coming to you once a week here. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your wives, girlfriends, moms, whoever's possibly in the room to you putting their headphones in because they don't care. To also like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, dog.
And anything you want to close on before we get out of here?
Come on, ladies. We need more viewership.
Have a good one.